Have you ever noticed someone who seems perfectly fine on the surface, but something just feels off? Today, we're diving into 7 signs that someone might be pretending to be okay when they're actually struggling beneath the mask. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll never look at your friends, family, or even yourself the same way again. The reality is that mental health struggles don't always look like what we see in movies. People suffering on the inside have become masters at hiding their pain. And there are subtle clues that can help us recognize when someone needs support. So let's break down these 7 warning signs that could help you be the lifeline someone desperately needs. Sign number 1. They're always smiling, but their eyes tell a different story. You know that person who lights up every room they enter? The one who's constantly cheerful and seems to have their life together? Sometimes that perpetual smile is actually a carefully constructed shield. When someone is masking their inner turmoil, you'll notice their smile doesn't quite reach their eyes. It's like watching someone perform happiness rather than genuinely experiencing it. Their facial expression might be bright, but there's an emptiness or sadness lurking behind their gaze that they can't quite hide. This phenomenon is so common that mental health professionals have a term for it: high-functioning depression. These individuals maintain their daily routines, excel at work or school, and present a positive exterior while battling serious emotional pain internally. They've perfected the art of looking okay because they believe showing their true feelings would burden others or reveal weakness. Sign number 2. They become masters of deflection and excuses. When you try to make plans or invite them to social gatherings, they always have a reason why they can't participate. It's always something vague like being busy, having other commitments, or just not feeling up to it. But here's what's really happening. They're protecting themselves from having to maintain that facade in social situations, where it becomes increasingly difficult to keep up the act. Depression still carries stigma in our society, and many people would rather isolate themselves than risk their struggles becoming visible to others. They'd rather be seen as antisocial or busy than admit they're drowning emotionally. This withdrawal often starts small, but gradually increases as maintaining social connections becomes more exhausting. Sign number 3. Humor becomes their armor, but it cuts deep. Some of the funniest people you know might actually be fighting the hardest battles. But pay attention to the type of humor they use. If someone constantly makes jokes at their own expense, putting themselves down to get laughs, that's a red flag. They're essentially volunteering to be the target of ridicule because it feels safer than risking genuine emotional exposure. On the flip side, watch for aggressive humor where they consistently tear others down through jokes. This type of humor serves as a defense mechanism, deflecting attention from their own pain by making others uncomfortable or defensive. Both self-deprecating and aggressive humor can be ways of avoiding authentic emotional connections while still getting social interaction. Sign number 4. They're productive powerhouses during the day, but completely collapse at home. These individuals pour every ounce of their energy into maintaining their public image. At work, they're the reliable colleague who never misses deadlines. In social settings, they're engaged and present. But the moment they get home, they completely shut down. This pattern happens because keeping up appearances requires enormous emotional energy when you're struggling internally. They view their professional and public life as the one area where they can still feel competent and valuable, so they protect it at all costs. But this leaves nothing in the tank for their personal life, relationships, or self-care. Sign number 5. They become hyper-empathetic and want to fix everyone else's problems. When someone has experienced emotional pain, they often develop an acute sensitivity to others' suffering. They might become the friend everyone turns to for advice, the colleague who always volunteers to help with extra projects, or the family member who tries to solve everyone's issues. While empathy is beautiful, watch for when it becomes compulsive or overwhelming. Sometimes people throw themselves into helping others as a way to avoid dealing with their own problems. It's easier to focus on fixing external situations than confronting internal struggles. This hypervigilance toward others' needs can also stem from a deep fear of abandonment if they're not constantly proving their worth through service. Sign number 6. They perfect the art of surface-level responses. When asked how they're doing or what's wrong, they always have a ready-made, socially acceptable answer. I'm just tired. It's been a long week. or "I'm fine, just stressed about work." These responses are designed to satisfy the asker while revealing absolutely nothing about their true emotional state. The exhaustion they mention is real, but it's not the kind that sleep can fix. It's the bone-deep fatigue that comes from constantly monitoring and controlling your emotional expression. When someone is struggling with depression or anxiety, even basic daily tasks can feel overwhelming, like carrying an invisible weight that others can't see. They've mastered the quick topic change. Whenever conversations start heading toward anything remotely personal or emotional, they immediately redirect. They might ask about your life, bring up current events, or make a joke to shift the focus away from themselves. This deflection is so smooth that you might not even notice it's happening. This behavior stems from a fear that if people really knew what was going on inside their head, they'd be rejected, judged, or seen as broken. They've convinced themselves that their authentic self is too much for others to handle, so they only show carefully curated pieces of who they are. So what can you do if you recognize these signs in someone you care about? First, create safe spaces for authentic conversation without pressure. Let them know you're available to listen without trying to fix or judge. Sometimes just knowing someone sees through the mask and still chooses to stay can be incredibly healing. Remember, you can't force someone to open up, but you can be consistently present and patient. Small gestures of care and attention to their well-being can plant seeds that bloom when they're ready to seek help. If you recognized yourself in any of these signs, please know that struggling doesn't make you weak, and you don't have to carry this burden alone. Reaching out for professional support or confiding in trusted friends can be the first step toward genuine healing rather than just surviving. The masks we wear to protect ourselves sometimes become prisons that keep us isolated from the very connections we need most. But with awareness, compassion, and courage, we can help create a world where it's safe to be authentically human, struggles and all.